What's up, Hambone here, and I am bringing you a very special commentary today. And normally, I know I talk about the gameplay or whatever, or what's going on in the video. It usually relates to the game that I'm playing. But today's video is a little bit special. It's about something a little bit more personal to me than the gameplay, and it is going over the fact that I have a disease known as, or not a disease, a disorder known as dystonia, and I will be going over what that is in a couple minutes. But first off, I just want to say the gameplay that you're seeing in front of you is of a game called Infamous 2. This is on hard difficulty, and this is an evil character, just so y'all know. But that's about all I want to say on the gameplay. But yes, I have what is known as dystonia, and I'm betting a lot of you will probably, at least those of you who are subscribed to my channel, who did not find this video by typing in dystonia into the search box, you probably are wondering what the hell is dystonia. Dystonia is more or less this. It is involuntary muscle spasms of the body, and they can occur anywhere from your feet to your face, anywhere throughout your body where there is any sort of muscle or ligament or tendon there for the body to have control a function of some sort of movement. And it can range from being very not severe, I guess is the word I'm looking for, to being overly severe in certain cases. And a good example of something being overly severe in this case would be it's a pretty famous video on YouTube. Yeah, some of y'all have probably seen it before, but just type in cheerleader dystonia. Her case was extremely bad. I think they actually proved that hers was actually false though, but it is actually possible for things like that to happen, and they can get pretty bad. So it's a pretty bad disease. Just look up that video and look what was happening to her. But yeah, stuff can be really bad. Mine wasn't quite that severe, but it was pretty bad. Mine was more or less, wasn't about the severity of it. While it was pretty severe when they happened, it was more about the frequency of which mine happened over anything else for me personally. But I guess I'll get things started off. I actually didn't have dystonia for a good part of my life at the beginning. I didn't actually start developing this until I was in about 8th grade, so I would have been 13 at the time. So, about 13 years of me not being in any sort of form to really have this disorder. I was perfectly fine. I was healthy. A little bit chubby. Not fat, chubby, a little bit back in 8th grade, but I was healthy and all. And my dystonia developed really, it wasn't severe at the beginning. I'll say that. It was I'd get like it felt like a cramp in my foot is the best way to describe it when it first started. It was just like, oh, I got a cramp. It would happen like once every month, every 2 weeks or something like that, and it wasn't that bad. But then it started getting a little bit worse as I got older. It started just not happening in my right foot and ankle. It actually started happening in my left ankle as well. And then at some point it started happening in my right wrist and right arm. And then it started happening in my left wrist and left arm. And then near the end of the cycle, it actually started happening in my face as well. But more or less, it started out pretty nonchalantly, and I have no idea what started. In a lot of cases, there is no reason for dystonia to actually show up. It just happens. And in some cases, there's nothing that you can do to prevent it. Like, in some cases, like with that cheerleader, damn it, I died. She got a flu shot, and she developed it from that. But in my case, it just came out of nowhere. And that happens sometimes. And I mean, it can come from really weird things sometimes, and there's just nothing you can do about it. But that being said, it affected me in ways that were they weren't like life-threatening at the time. There actually was some life-threatening ways that this does end up affecting me that I'll go over later. But I had, I didn't have problems with it, and it was so infrequent when I first had it that I didn't really know it was a problem. Like I said, I just thought it was cramps. And after a while, they started happening more frequently. Like, it would happen, once every instead of once every 2 weeks or something like that, it started happening like once every week. And then at some point, it started happening about, probably when I was in 11th grade, it started happening about at least once every day. And that was when I noticed a real problem with it, and that's when people around me actually started noticing, because I used to be able to hide it from people, because I was more or less a little bit embarrassed about the fact that, about what was going on with me, and I didn't know what it was, but I did know I didn't like it. But it I kind of didn't tell anybody about it, but then people started noticing it. So at one point, I actually had to, my family started noticing. I actually had to tell my mom and stuff about it, and I ended up having to go to a doctor, and the doctor had no idea what it was. They ended up having to send me to a neurologist, and I ended up going to a neurologist, and that's where I found out it was dystonia. Um, at the time, he wanted to see what would happen with it, because in some cases it can literally just go away, and in a lot of cases that's how it just happens. It just goes away. There is no real treatment. There are ways to suppress it in some cases, that you can suppress what is happening with you, but in a lot of cases it just goes away. If it does go away, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's with you for life. Um, but in 11th grade, I actually went and found out that I had dystonia, and he didn't want to start me on medicine, which is one reason is that he just wanted to see if it went away on its own. And at the time, it actually, it happened about once every day, but it wasn't super severe. But then it got really severe about my 12th grade year. I was 17 at the time, and it it really started getting bad. Like like a lot of people, like they'll have like weird tics that set off their muscle spasms. Mine was more or less this, and it was that every time I got out of my chair to get up to walk, I would have a muscle spasm. I could almost guarantee I was going to have a muscle spasm when I got out of my chair to go walk. Especially at school, it happened a lot, because you're in your chair, you have to get out of school between classes and stuff, get out of your chair to go walk between classes, and it happened a lot during school. And while it was bad, there was some relatively funny stuff out of it. It kind of turned into I guess the best way to describe it was, it kind of turned into a meme for my for me, like a meme for me in my school, and a lot of my classmates were like, "Oh, Winston, he's having a muscle spasm." And the way I looked, I can't. If I had a camera, I would try to show you what I actually did when I spazzed out. But the best way to describe it was my by the time I got to 12th grade, my arms would lock up. My fists I would make like tight little clenched fists, and I couldn't control this at all. And my arms would peel back, and I couldn't more or less walk. And it was kind of funny, because a lot of people said it looked like I was trying to do like some sort of weird dance. And it was all in good fun, because while I didn't like it, it was something that I had to deal with, and it was alright to make light of it in a lot of cases. If someone I'd known for a while was to make fun of it, I didn't have a problem with that or anything. But anyway, it was, it was getting to the point where every time I got out of my chair, I would spaz out, and I would start more or less, having a muscle spasm, and it was really bad. Like literally, it would happen. 20 plus. I'm pretty sure I've hit the number 50 before when doing this. Here he is. And it it was so frequent that at this point, I was kind of asking my doctor when I went and saw him again to get me up on the medicine. But there was some things that came along with the medicine that he didn't want me to start yet until I got out of high school, because of complications. There were some other complications that came along with this, but example, I actually could not get my driver's license until I was 19, until I was actually on this medicine that the doctor gave me, because I could not risk driving and having a muscle spasm, not being able to control the car. Of course, you end up dying that way, car crash. So there was that problem. And then there were situations when I was had to do certain things where my muscle spasms hindered me and kind of embarrassed me, more or less. Like example, I know my senior year, during our award ceremonies that we did during school. Not graduation. It did happen at graduation, but that's coming up in a second. But I was actually walking up to get a couple of my awards, and I actually spazzed out in front of like a lot of people who didn't know me, or well, they not knew me, but they didn't know I had dystonia. They didn't know I had this problem, and it was kind of like, okay, probably like, what the hell is this kid doing? What's wrong with him? Is he going to have a seizure or something? And it was embarrassing, and that happened. Oh fuck, I died. Shit, and like unless it happens to you, like that they talk about the kids who have the dream where like he ends up in like front of the class in his underwear. It's kind of like one of those situations. It's just really embarrassing. You wish it wouldn't have happened, and it happened to me on quite a couple occasions. It did happen to me at my graduation. Not when I was going up to get my diploma. Luckily, I was able to force one out while I was in my chair, so that when I went up there to walk to get my diploma, that I didn't have one then. But it was it was embarrassing, especially at that point, because I was in front of like probably 1,000 people when it happened, and a good majority of them probably didn't even know who I was, and it's just really embarrassing. And there was a lot of other complications that came with this that are not fun. But there were some really weird things about my dystonia. It would not kick in when I was playing football. I played football all throughout high school. I was pretty good. I could actually make an entire another video about my little high school football career if I wanted to, but at the same time I would have to probably give y'all links to some proof, and I'd rather not have my real name and where I live come out on the internet, at least for right now. But I might go over that one day later. But to another point, getting back to my point at hand, when I was playing football, I more or less it wouldn't happen, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like I could play football, no problem, not have a single muscle spasm. It was weird, and I don't know how to explain it. It was just, hey, hey, play football, no muscle spasms. Go to get out of your chair, you spaz the hell out, and it was weird. It was extremely weird, and there really is no explanation for it other than just playing football was something that I guess maybe my mind was so concentrated on football that it didn't have time to really go into a mode where it caused muscle spasms, I guess. I don't know. My doctor couldn't give me an explanation for it, so I really can't give a good answer other than that, what I'm speculating. So yeah, but I played football, it wouldn't happen. It did happen when I ran though, but not when I was playing football when I ran, which is just even weirder too. Like when I used to run and I used to like run, it would happen while I was running sometimes, and like I'd have to slow, but it never happened when I was playing football and I had to run around and stuff like that. Very weird, honestly. It was very weird, but it affected me pretty heavily for about 2 years, and I had it for about 4 at this point, about 4.5, and then after I graduated, about 2 weeks after I graduated, my doctor said it was okay for me to start this seizure medication. Sometimes seizure medication, he told me, can help reduce the symptoms of dystonia in some patients. And luckily for me, it completely got rid of all of my symptoms as soon as I started taking it. About 3 days after I started taking the medicine, I didn't have a single muscle spasm after that, which was really awesome. But there were some extremely bad side effects that came with this that came with this medicine. Example one, this one I wasn't extremely affected by, but it does happen to people, and I've actually looked at people telling me about it, is that you can become extremely depressed while on this medication. If I ever did become depressed, or to an extent, it probably wasn't that bad, because I'm generally a pretty happy person. I'm not very negative at all, and since I've taken the medicine, I don't think I've ever really been depressed, I guess, because like it was supposed to like induce like suicidal thoughts in some people. Not that you would act on, but just the thoughts were there. I never really had those as far as I can remember, so I don't think I got the full extent of that side effect of the medicine. But there was one side effect of it that I did get that was pretty bad, and it involves alcohol. And, well, obviously, I'm going to say this. If you're on a seizure medication, don't drink, or at least try to avoid it at all costs. Uh, Especially, like, if you're taking a seizure medication you're starting before you ever drank before or drank heavily before, your alcoholic tolerance level is going to be shot. You're not going to be able to handle much alcohol at all, and it's it more or less, if you were originally meant to be a pretty heavyweight when it comes to drinking, you're going to probably end up being a pretty lightweight. Um, it's just for an example. Let's say it took 10 beers to get you drunk, and I'm not talking belligerent. I'm just talking about drunk. I'm not talking you're more than buzzed, but you're drunk. You're that good feeling at this point. You know you you're drunk, not belligerently like bleh, but you're drunk. It'd probably take you about 5 beers at that point on this medication to get to that point. And for those of you who don't drink, this wouldn't affect you. But drinking, it's not like my favorite thing to do. And I enjoy it. I enjoy the taste of certain liquors, especially whiskey, which is why I like to drink now, and which is why I'm kind of disappointed that at the moment I currently cannot drink, which I will get to in a second. But it's not the end of the world for me if I can't. But it's something there, and at the same time, this medicine, when mixed with alcohol, I can't think of the name of it right now. I might look it up and put it on the screen if I remember to before I post this. It caused hallucinations to happen in me when I was drinking, especially when I got extremely drunk. It would cause extremely bad hallucinations, from what I've understood, and yeah, it hallucinations are never a good thing. But nothing. It was one of those things where it's like, okay, I can't drink now, or I shouldn't drink really, but I'm going to anyway. That's what I found out at the beginning when I started doing this. Like, I'm only drinking like once a month. It'll be fine if I do this. At least, and it kind of was. That's how I started out with it anyway, as far as like my concept on drinking was concerned while I was doing this. But when I turned 21, which is about a month ago now, I actually started drinking daily. Not going overboard daily. I would drink a lot, about every 3 days probably, just because it's like, oh, I might as well just finish off the rest of this case or something, and it's just I just powered down or drank a bunch of whiskey that day or something, and it would end up being that one day I ended up shaking extremely bad after I was drinking. And it happened about Sunday morning, and I was shaking extremely bad, and I actually went and talked to my doctor about this, and it turns out that my medicine, and I wasn't aware of this at the time, I actually went and looked up some more on it too, can cause your liver to become weakened, and it makes your liver unable to take as much alcohol as it could have as if you weren't on it. And not only is your alcoholic tolerance drop down, now your liver cannot take as much alcohol as it normally would have been able to, which the best way to explain it is like, let's say like a normal person's alcohol can take, this is for example, on a scale of 1 to 100, 100 is an average person's how much they can take before their liver can't take anymore. Mine has been shot down. This is more or less from what I understand from my doctor told me, probably about 40 or 30 on a scale of to 100, which means that I can become extremely sick if I drink too much very quickly, and it can cause problems with me, which is why I was shaking for like 3 or 4 days when I started shaking that one night, and it kind of sucked. And what this means is that I, more or less, as of right now, cannot drink, and I've decided not to drink at all, just to make sure that I do not end up killing myself, because I just want to enjoy myself by drinking something. Now, Let me get this back. What does this mean as a whole? It means this. It means I can't drink, and it's fine. But I am currently in the process of weaning off of my medicine, and hopefully, well, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get weaned off of it simply because I have oh shit. I'm gonna die. Oh, that didn't work out. I'm currently in the process of trying to wean me off my medicine to see if my dystonia has gone away, and I don't think it has because I'll get feelings that I'm going to have a muscle spasm, that, but they don't actually come right now. I'm down to half a pill a day, and hopefully at some point it will go away, but I don't think it has gone away right now, which kind of sucks. At the same time, it just means I got to be on my medicine a little bit longer. It just means I can't drink for a little while longer, for a couple more years, which is fine. But that's really about it. That's where I'm standing at right now. I'm in the process of seeing how I work on a lower dosage of my medicine that I'm on, and as of right now, it's not looking too good. But that's okay. This means I gotta wait a little bit longer. But that's about it really. I just feel like talking about this, and I know this video, dang, it's been about 21 minutes, a little bit longer than I wanted it to go. But if you managed to listen through all of this, good on you. Maybe it's a pretty interesting disease. There's a lot of stuff you can look up on it. I mean, if you're interested in it, there's plenty of stuff you can find online about it. It's pretty uncommon. I think it's like 1 in 100,000 people have it. It might be 1 in 10,000. I can't remember. But it's it's just something I feel like talking about. It's something that I've lived with for a good deal now. I've had it for about 8 years now, which is almost half of my life. It really affected me hardcore for about 4 of that, and then yeah, so that's about it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give the video a like. If you found any reason to subscribe to my channel based off this video, go ahead and subscribe. I try to post videos Monday through Friday, though I usually end up missing the Monday and Friday videos just because I don't have time to record all the time. But that's about it really. But enjoy the rest of your day.